The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French here. This is the French Workbench Podcast here on a Tuesday. Thank you guys for tuning in out there. We had some people waiting in the rooms. That's always good. Shout out to everybody out there. This is the most real and behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk going on here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French, streaming live, and I have a full studio. Well, actually, just two people in studio. I have my good friend here, Ethan. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Had a great weekend, and I remember part of it.
You remember part of it, man? What happened? You woke up on the wrong side, or what? Like, what's going on?
Ended up at this place called Public School, which was in was it downtown Summerlin?
Downtown Summerlin, yeah.
And they have like these full giant Jenga-sized games that I'd never played Jenga in my life, and we got into this like battle royale.
What is it, like a life-size Jenga? I mean, what do you do?
It was bigger than her. I mean, these pieces were like this big. They were like 2x4s.
Nice.
And we had these things stacked up like a mile high. We were just smashed. We were drinking, and
so you guys were hanging out then. You guys saw each other over the weekend.
That's where we met. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
So,
and if you guys don't know who we're talking about, so other than Ethan over here, let's bring up over here. We have Leanne Gaxiola.
Yes, sir.
Right? What's going on, Leanne?
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you. So let me ask you a question. First off, what'd you expect? I mean, were you kind of nervous coming in here?
I was pretty nervous. I didn't know what to expect at all. I was like, what's the name of this podcast?
I was like smashed when I asked her. I was like, hey, it'd be a great idea. And then I just laid it on her.
I was all, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's
right
do
now.
it.
I got all the ideas. I was ready then and there.
Yeah, so I was going to talk to you a little bit. So, so you do jiu-jitsu, right?
I train jiu-jitsu. I do. I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your company, I want to talk about this for a second. So you work with Tribe Fitness and Martial Arts, is that right?
I train out of there.
What is that?
So that's a martial arts gym and a CrossFit gym. Well, not a CrossFit, cross-training gym. It's functional fitness. And we have adult jiu-jitsu, kids jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai boxing, just all around, all martial arts. And I train and coach out of there. My kids train out of there. And I love it. It's my home away from home.
You have kids. How many kids do you have?
I have two. I have a 10-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter.
So I'm not going to like call you out, but I mean, you're not very tall in stature, right?
Right.
But yet you look like you can hold your own. And I think that's...
How tall are you?
I'm 4'11".
4'11".
You're 4'11".
I'm 4'11".
Wow.
That's really short. I know.
And it looks like, I mean, you look like you work out. Like you look like you look like you're pretty fit.
I feel like it's too much. Like it's
like,
too
much.
It's a little too much.
I mean
like,
it's good. It's good. I think when you get those, women, it's okay for women to have curves and have like the shoulders
to be toned.
Yeah, to be toned. But I mean, even have that
sure.
curvature or even have those cuts a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't want to be overly cut. But I mean, do you think girls with abs are hot?
I think it's very hot. I mean, I've seen one recently that looks very good.
Yeah, it's just different, man. I think there's
different.
some people get turned off. I don't want somebody that's out there that's like those, that they could probably take me on and tear me down. But you want somebody.
You mean like her, like this blue belt in jiu-jitsu right here that would probably mess both of us up right now.
I also need it too. The muscle helps in jiu-jitsu a lot, especially when most of the time I'm going against people who are bigger than me.
You're like throwing people twice your size?
I mean, I try. It doesn't always work, but
take me through this process.
Wow.
So I mean, how did you get involved let's go back and start over. When did you come to Vegas? Were you born here?
I was not. I came here about 6 years ago from San Diego. I was in San Diego for like 10 years.
Sweet.
My family was out here, so naturally I came out here to be closer to my family with my kids. And I want my kids to train. I've always wanted them to train, so I was actively looking for a jiu-jitsu gym, a martial arts gym.
Yeah.
Tribe was the second one that I ever walked into, and just immediately. Have you ever had those feelings like you just know something right away? And I knew right away, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to train.
Absolutely.
This is where my kids are supposed to train. It was a no-brainer.
And you came to Vegas with your kids, and you were like, "This is going to be a great city for me and my children."
This is going to be it. I knew
This
it.
was
I
the
had
one.
this.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get hippie on you, but I had this gravitational pull. Like something was telling me you need to be in Vegas. Opportunities here, and it has not lied.
Is it here though? Like I
I-
mean, people feel that it's starting to get oversaturated. You got a lot of people here that a lot of traffic, a lot of just competition. And man, there's not a lot of room. I mean, they're building outward. That's how Vegas works.
This
Yeah.
is true.
But we're
This is
losing
true.
land. Is it really the land of opportunity? Because I feel that the economy's doing well, but man, it's really getting tough out there,
It's
right?
definitely like a tough land of opportunity. You have to be a shark. You got to go out there and like really get it. So it's definitely harder. The opportunity is just not there. If you want something, you're really going to have to go after it because the competition is hard.
You came out here, you jumped into it.
I jumped
Was
into
it tough?
It was not tough. I'm not going to lie. I was really grateful that I came into it and had a really natural, I adapted really well in the fitness industry. But to progress and go further, I realized it was a lot of competition. And
There's a
you
lot.
need
Yeah,
to set
Vegas
yourself apart.
is a big image city. Everybody's trying to look good. They're always
Yeah.
working out. Everyone's at the gym. I mean, it's
Is that true? You see a lot of people trying to work out at the gym. Like
Oh,
everybody's
totally.
cautious about what they look like in their physique, right?
It's a very important. When I moved out here to Vegas, I didn't know false eyelashes existed.
Oh, wow.
Until I moved out here.
Really?
I'm from San Diego. I was walking around barefoot, and I came out here and I was looking at the girls. I was like, "What is on your eyes? Like that is so crazy."
I often ask
it's
myself that
beautiful.
same question.
Most of the time it's really beautiful. But
It's almost like if they can figure anything out to enhance that feature or enhance something, they're going to figure it out here.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm
Yeah,
not, and I'm
definitely.
not knocking it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with caring about the way you look and the work you put into it. And hey, I'm here for it. If somebody wants to pay me to help them look good with some abs, I support it. I'm here for it.
So let's talk about this. So you moved when did you move to Las Vegas? Go ahead and
So 6 years ago, I moved.
6 years.
I moved out here. Yeah, I started
Okay.
training right away with yoga and fitness. I found a gym out here called True Fusion.
Okay.
And I became a trainer through them.
Sweet.
And
Okay.
just a snowball of like opportunity. I had opportunities to train Alex Rodriguez, Forrest Griffin, and just all these cool
Really?
opportunities have happened.
you like
Oh, yeah.
A-Rod, like the baseball player?
Like A-Rod. So it's really cool.
Okay.
True Fusion
Wow.
calls me and they're like, "We want to fly you out to Arizona to train A-Rod." I'm like, "Me? Like, I'm the best we got, you guys? Like, are you sure?"
well, he was
Me?"
looking for pictures, and I guess yours came up.
So a
He's
lot,
like,
a lot of people said that. They're like, "You gotta."
I want those
you need-
abs
you need
right
this-
there.
You need this
Wait,
J-Lo
she's the
vibe.
one. That's the one. That's
She's
the right one.
No, it's really cool. The studio I work for said I had like a really high retention rate with numbers, and so
Nice.
that was
That's
the reason
important.
why they picked me. And I tried not to let it go to my head. I want to stay humble, but I mean, I totally loved that opportunity. It was
If you're good
amazing,
at what you
super
do, you're
grateful.
good at what you
Yeah.
do, you know?
So what when did you meet with these people? Was it a challenge for you to kind of work with them and win over their confidence, or was it like right away they were saying, "Hey, you know what? She knows her shit. We're gonna get this going. Let's do it."
Right away, it was like that. Yeah,
Really?
everybody
Just
really
jump right in.
team Leanne, support Leanne.
Sweet. Okay, I like that.
really made things easy for me, which is really cool. And because of that, I really love what I do, and I have so much support behind it. Yeah, it's really great.
A lot of people too, they look at this situation and they feel like it's hard to establish themselves in Vegas because it's very much a small niche town. Like you go to the Strip, it's like who you know.
Totally.
And also too, getting started, people are very standoffish a little bit, especially when you come out here. If you don't know anybody out here, this is one of the more challenging cities where you actually have to be very outgoing and you have to present
No, for
yourself
sure.
to get
Totally.
that attention of that person.
But what you did was much different. You didn't come out and do the typical thing where you're a dealer at a casino or a cocktail waitress or anything like that. You came out and started your own thing,
I
which
just
is
think
not your
you
typical.
got to get in where you fit in. You got to
Yeah.
do what you love. At hospitality, like talking to people. So it's different in San Diego. Everyone's outgoing. They talk, but it's a different kind of like talk out here. Like you got to really like
Vegas.
fancy some people with some talk for sure.
So let's talk about the challenges. So you're starting out here and people want to know like what it's like to live in Vegas. That's why we talk about this. And this channel is really about everything Las Vegas. It's not just hey, we're going to talk only real estate and financing. We're going to have a majority of that conversation, but we're going to talk a lot about what people go through and the experiences in Las Vegas. Everybody always talks about, move here, it's the greatest. What are some of the challenges that you faced or maybe are facing to try to start a business here? Is there any challenges that you're looking at?
Yeah, totally. So I've been trying to launch my own brand, my own program through yoga and fitness, what I do, what I train for.
Right.
But everybody's doing that, and everyone's doing that. And
Like the online thing?
Like the online thing.
Okay.
And even if you're not validated, people are doing it through Instagram, and there's just endless, material to get fit and work out and follow a workout. And so it's been really challenging. Like, why am I different? What am I going to do different to get you to watch my video than the next girl or the next person?
Yeah, I think it's what you have to offer.
Right. And especially, like we said, out here, everybody cares about how they look. Everyone's a trainer. Everyone's doing it. So I took my jiu-jitsu training and I've kind of infused it with my yoga training and my fitness training. And I think that that's the path I'm heading down right now with my brand.
Sweet.
And I think I'm going to set myself apart. I know I'll set myself apart with fusing the two together to a whole new,
Yeah, because you don't really see stuff like that. You don't see
You
like
don't.
jujitsu and yoga and
don't.
you don't. I've never seen that.
You don't at all. And I love it. And I think
cool.
there's a whole world there for it. I've had a lot of girls that since they've seen that I train, come out and train. They've fallen in love with it. They realize.
Well, it probably makes it more comfortable to see
I think totally.
a female doing this and not some big, cock diesel
Totally.
jack guy doing this. So
No,
they probably feel
totally.
more
How-
comfortable.
What do you think? What do you think a guy gets from it though? Like if you're saying, okay, well, maybe their core, right? Because it's different. When you're doing yoga, you're doing a completely different, I would say, an arsenal of muscles that you're working out.
I've
Is that
never
right?
done yoga. I don't know shit about
Well,
yoga.
it's funny that you asked what a guy would get from it. But the reason I even came up with this idea and this fusion of ideas is my first client was this male client who's a jiu-jitsu practitioner only. And he was having problems in his jiu-jitsu game because his hips were tight. So somebody was like, you need to match up with a yoga teacher and work on your hips. And so he sought out me as a yoga teacher. I realized this is a jiu-jitsu person who's trying to level up in their game, and through yoga they can do that. And my first client was a male who had no interest in doing yoga but had a huge interest in getting better in jiu-jitsu. So I think there's going to be almost more males than females that are going to
Really?
like this program, like this fusion of the two together.
Because you hear yoga and you think something totally different
like,
than what
no.
you're explaining. So
Right,
it's like
right. But if
it's
you
new.
know you're going to get better at jiu-jitsu, oh yeah, like it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
I think that's a good selling point to gain clientele,
Totally.
to show them something new like that. I
Yeah.
think it's really cool.
Yeah, that's going to be the selling point for sure.
So if you were going to open up a shop, right, and you're looking at this and saying, well, where do I want to open up? Where do you think an ideal place of opening up a business would be if you just had to come off of the, top of your head? Where
Like in the city?
in the city.
In the city, and personally, just off the top of my head, I love Summerlin area.
Really?
Downtown Summerlin. Like, that's my spot. And I might
That
be
would be
wrong if
interesting.
that's where it should be. That's personally where I like to be. Like, if I was going to.
I mean, it is a nice area.
It's a nice area.
for sure.
I like the crowd over there, the people over there. Everyone's really fit, athletic,
Yeah.
active lifestyles. And that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Are you a Summerlin, like, are you somebody that really,
Summerlin junkie.
yeah,
So,
like,
like a Pilates mommy,
is that where
like
you
a
hang
Summerlin
out? Like,
per-
is that where you're
I
at?
mean, that's where a lot of my life does exist. It's where I train people. It's where I coach people. It's where
Okay.
the studios I work out of are. So, yeah.
Is there a lot of people that, and let's just be honest, do they walk around with money? Like, you can just tell, like, because I'm not trying to stereotype, but it just seems like a lot of people will pay a premium to live out there. They have downtown Summerlin, and there's a lot of things that are real costly out
That's
there.
like our Beverly
Yeah.
Hills.
It is, man. It's
area.
like our Beverly-
It is. It
right?
really,
Yeah.
it totally is. And so I don't like judging people a book by its cover, but I would assume that people have some decent money if they're hanging around downtown Summerlin.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think that's why it would be good if I did open up a business down there. I'm targeting people who are willing to or going to invest and pay me money to.
I feel
come in
like
my
it's this
spot.
though. I feel like it's not just the people that have money, right? I feel like those people that live in that area are very serious about what they do. So if they're going to come to you, they're
This
not
is
just
true.
looking to waste money. They're going to be spending good money on a quality program.
Totally true.
And they're
totally
gonna care
true.
about it.
And that's what the program will be too. It's going to be exclusive. This
Nice.
isn't going to be just for anybody. These are like your serious trainers or practitioners that are really serious about leveling up their game. And we'll definitely have a nice little knit mark of people that we're going after.
That is super interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about Vegas and what you like about Vegas and maybe some things you don't like, right? And we'll talk about the housing market. And so, for me, there's a lot of good things about Las Vegas. Now, I feel that the cost and affordability, and we'll talk about this here shortly, is really diminishing quickly. And the
Yeah.
people that are living here and trying to move here to have a better life, You know, you talk about things that are costly. I feel like we're mini California now.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
It's
And
discouraging.
You were from San Diego. What is the real difference between Vegas now versus when you left San Diego? Or is there?
I mean, other than the beach, it's coming really close to the same. When I moved here, it was more realistic for me to be on my own and make a living on my own out here than obviously San Diego as being solo. But now, I mean, I'm in a time right now where I am looking for a place and I have my kids, and it's a little discouraging because things are so expensive, and it's almost like the world makes it impossible for you to just
It used to be so
do
cheap
it
out
on your
here.
own.
People used to come here because it was so cheap.
Right,
And
right,
now, yeah,
right.
it's getting out of hand.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at Vegas and you're like, okay, well, you got the cost of living, you got gas, right? And then people always say, well, should I rent? Should I buy? You know, are you in a position where you're thinking about buying a house, or is that just off the table?
I'm not in a position where I'm thinking about buying one, or I could. It's not that it's off the table. I just don't know if it's something I wanted. I try to think if I was in a position, if I still would want to buy a house.
I think a lot of people are thinking that way though right now.
Right.
A lot of people
Even
are
if
like,
I was,
I
I
want
don't
to,
know.
but I'm not
Right.
sure.
I'm not sure what to do. I don't know where.
Well, why do you feel
life's
like
going.
you're not sure? Like, let's say you had the money, right, to
So-
put a down payment. Like, what would make it?
If I was in a position to buy a home, I want to travel. I want to leave, and so the idea of committing to something so permanent here.
Yeah.
And not that there's not ways around it. If I do want to leave, I could still leave. But that's a whole other,
It's a serious purchase.
Right, it's a serious purchase. And then I'm so minimalistic. You know what my dream is? I want to get a tiny home and live in a little tiny home village. And
Dude, they got those Tesla homes for $15K.
Tesla homes.
Yeah.
So what's
I
a
haven't
Tesla
seen
home? What
those.
is
It's
that?
like those little like build your home type thing, and then you can just live in it. So maybe you
With
can.
your car, with your Tesla?
Yeah,
Like,
just
what is
live
that?
in my
No,
own-
what is
They got-
happening?
Is this
Tesla's
the
got a
new
little
live out of your car, live
it's
out
like a
of
little
Tesla?
portable home now. I mean, I think you could
wow.
actually hitch
Like-
it to something. I don't know, but Tesla came out with like a small home. I think I saw it like $15K.
Dude, that's what I want.
Even Home Depot has those.
And then it just folds
That's
up. And
crazy.
then they got this thing like boxable, but it just folds up.
Yeah, I
and
don't
then
want my house
you-
to fold up.
Yeah, then you put it on the top of your truck.
Yeah, I don't want
or in
that.
the back.
I think because I'm so small,
I was
I was
just
like,
like-
Don't forget to grab the house.
I told my kids, and my son looks at me and he's like, no, Mom. He's like, I'm going to get us this big house. I'm like, I don't want a big house. It's all kinds of responsibility. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to deal with that. I don't know.
So Vegas, right? So you said, what do you think the best thing about Las Vegas living here is?
For me, the best thing has been the people, which is interesting because
That's very interesting.
it is,
You
because
don't
I
hear that
know
often.
you don't hear that often. But I bring it back to that Summerlin crowd I'm hanging out with, where I live a lot of my life, and I'm just surrounded, like I said, Team Leanne, so much love, so much
Nice.
support, and I think a lot of the people I know aren't originally from here, and maybe that has something
That's
to say with
everybody,
it.
right? You're from here, though.
Yeah, I was born and raised here. It's funny. So when I met her over the weekend, we were with a group of people, and me and another person were actually both born here, and I think it was amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys are cool. So I don't know. I guess you get, wherever you go, you get a group of people who aren't so nice. But for me, Vegas has been great. People have been great. It's one of my favorite things out here is the people.
Nice.
Obviously, the mountains, just all this nature. It's the opposite of San Diego.
So why would
Great.
you consider leaving? Because this is a very transient
Yeah.
city, and I think a lot of people, it's like the pass through of where their ultimate destination is. I always say people that are there for a year, and if they can survive a year and they like it, typically they stay, right? But a lot of people just kind of, okay, I'm going to use it for what it is. After a year, I'm over it. I'm off to somewhere else. Why do you want to potentially leave Vegas?
I kind of always felt that way. Like I just have always
Really?
wanted to steer far, like Spain, Barcelona, somewhere in Europe far. And so, like you said, just kind of passing through. I think that's always been the idea. I'm not closed off to the idea of staying here. I just, for a long time, my whole life, I've always known I wanted to travel the world, couch surf around a little bit.
So what
and
would you do if you establish your business and you start getting all these clients? I mean,
So that's why I kind of steer away from the idea of not having like a brick and mortar business and more of like an online
There
platform,
you
like
go,
launching
okay.
online. So
So
I
you
can
can
do
do
what
it
I
anywhere.
love wherever I want. I can get jiu-jitsu and yoga anywhere. And
And I think too, people
cool.
they don't want to go to a brick and mortar. Seem like a lot for
Right.
things now.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like, hey, if I can do something online, or if I can do something and I don't have to leave the house.
Totally.
And I think that's a big deal. I'm not saying, for me, I have to go to work. Like, I can't stay at home and just work from home. I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Right.
yeah.
But there's a lot of people that, hey, you know what? I'll run it from my house. You run a yoga, and you can probably have everything set up.
Yep.
But a lot of people are working remotely.
I work from home. My gym is in my garage.
Yeah.
So how long have you work remotely or you work from home?
No, I work, a little bit from home. Like if I'm doing a Zoom private or something, I'll do like teaching someone a fitness class through a Zoom. That's from home or from anywhere. But for the most part, I pop around studios and gyms that I train and
Because you
coach
can
out
just
of.
take your computer with you when
I
you
just
set
take
it
my
up
computer
anywhere,
with
right?
me, exactly.
Okay, you could be at the park.
Kids come with me pretty much anywhere I go.
Sweet.
It's really, everywhere I work's really like friendly like that. So
Let's talk about the competition that you deal with. So you have a lot of people. Look, this city is all about fitness
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you have a gas station or you have a gym.
Yeah.
Some sort of gym. It could be everywhere you go. Like I see UFC Fit. You got EOS,
LVAC.
LVAC. There's gyms everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, Fitness 19. There was a couple fitness places that I saw. The thing is that it's such a competitive market. What separates yourself from them?
yeah, I'm trying to utilize my jiu-jitsu training and my cute little small face that sets me apart from everybody else to really grab people's attention through that. Like I'm not just any other trainer. We're not going to just any other gym. Like I want to set up a wellness place where you can come and really change your life, really change your mindset, not just loosen up the hips and loosen the shoulders. Like I'm looking for a whole platform of a lifestyle.
So when someone says, how do I know you know what you're talking about? So in jiu-jitsu, like what belt are you?
I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
That's pretty high, right?
You're blue belt.
I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
How far away is that from black?
Yeah.
That is 3 away. So purple, brown, 2 colors away from black.
Wow,
I think there's like 5% of women in the whole world that are blue belts.
so that's kind of a big deal.
Dude, so you're killing it.
I think I'm killing it, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to set
I love
myself
it.
apart with is the blue belt jiu-jitsu and the yoga and the fitness.
How long did that take you to get to that level, though? Because, that's...
My blue belt was a year and a half, and a year of that was like straight training, like nonstop. Like I didn't really work a normal job. I was living in the gym all the time,
dedicated.
training, dedicated. Wow. That was training, and so
intense.
I got my blue belt in about a year and a half.
A year and a half. So is that is that fast or is that...
I don't know. I've had this conversation with other people, with teammates and stuff, and I think it's normal. I think it comes down to how often you're training. There's some people who can only train a couple of times a week, or have jobs that they're not allowed to be at the gym all the time. So
Yeah.
I think it takes longer for some people, but I think that's normal. It's not too crazy fast.
So when you get your mindset, it sounds like you're there and you just focus on it and you're okay. I'm getting it done.
When
like no
I
matter what.
decided I wanted my blue belt, I like a switch in my head like turned. Like everything else in life just stopped.
You're like,
and
I'm getting this.
I'm getting it, and I'm
Okay.
telling you, it was like nonstop training. But it was my choice. I loved it. I was just set, and it was probably one of the dopest things I've ever done in my life.
I feel like that's the mentality you have to succeed in the
So
city.
that's what I was saying. There's opportunity everywhere. There's gyms everywhere. There's opportunity to get fit and get in shape. But
Yeah.
do you want it? You need to be hungry. Are you going to get your ass up and go to the gym, or do you need a personal trainer, a life coach there, encouraging you, like you got
Screaming at you.
screaming at you to get up and
I
go.
think in life, people just want self-leadership, and the ones that can't get it, they seek it from people like yourself.
And that's what I'm hoping to do.
Real?
That's what I'm
Nice.
doing. I have my certification in like health coaching and meal planning and preps like that. And I'm just looking for all the tools.
I could
all the
never have a
tools.
life coach. I don't even like to have an alarm clock.
Right.
I don't like shit telling me what to do.
You don't like it?
Right.
So
No.
like I think it's like this. If you can
Never.
prove to me that you're going to get me that result,
Yeah.
then I will probably go with you.
Yeah.
But you got to have something like you get a lot of, and I'm not going to try to stereotype, but YouTubers and people like that, they're like, hey man, I'm doing this and I'm coaching this and well, cool. What is your experience? Like, what can you prove that you show that
show
you've-
results.
that you've had those results
Right.
to lead these types of positions or whatever it is.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm all in because now I'll say, okay, I see this, I validate it. Okay, we're good.
So
Yeah.
with you,
Right.
we know you're a blue belt, so obviously you've done some dedication in your field, so you have a leg to stand on, so to speak, for what you do.
Sure. Yeah. I try
So
to
you have
document
that.
my testimony and like,
That's cool.
everything on Instagram I share and show, and I actually shared and documented the whole process of me getting my blue belt. It was a whole thing. I had to go through like a Shark Tank where it's just nonstop jiu-jitsu rolling for like 30 minutes nonstop, no breaks. And
Wow.
I documented all of that just to show people and share with people, inspire people, know that I'm not just like going into gym because I went 5 times a week. I got my blue belt. Like, there's dedication. I tried to document everything because I want to be validated. I want people to see the results.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to be training people and teaching people.
Totally,
People
totally.
want to see that you've done this
Sure.
yourself.
Yeah. I want to do
for
less
sure.
of me trying to convince them why they should have me help them and more of like, they're begging me to help them
There we
because
go.
they're, make
Yeah.
it a little bit easier.
Okay.
So you have kids. I mean, isn't it kind of a risk to you that, okay, I'm starting in a new state. I know they were living here, correct? Already?
They were with me in San Diego, and then we came out here together.
Yeah. Is it a little bit like scary to do something that, I'm not going to say you couldn't do it, but it's just something you don't know if you can do, and it's just like, is that like your driving force, like your kids? A lot of people,
1,000%,
right?
1,000%. If it was just me without the kids, like I said, it'd probably be more on my hippie shit, just couch surfing around, maybe not as eager, not as hungry.
Yeah.
But because of them, I am more eager, more hungry.
Yes.
But I'm enjoying it too. I'm glad that they're like making me want to better myself, and I'm not just sitting my ass on the couch not doing anything. It is a little nervous though to think about what if I
Doing that.
fail or what if
Yes.
I can't, sometimes I think I'm being selfish by not, sacrificing all my free time and getting something more solid and permanent job just to make sure I'm taking care of them, like it's kind of a risk to do this.
Right.
A lot of people have that feeling though.
Right.
It happens to a lot of people.
Right. I don't want to live in fear though. I'm just going to go for it and know that I'll do it.
Yeah, I think too, I mean, you're looking at the situation, you're like, well, you have kids, and would you rather be in a place mentally where you're scared as shit, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. And so your back's against the wall. The Rock was talking about this, where it's like, I got nothing else. I can't do anything but succeed.
Right.
Or I'm in a position where things are just kind of humming along a little bit, and I don't really have that hunger where my back is against the wall. Would you rather be in that position, or would you rather have your back against the wall where you can really reach for the stars, right?
I would like it to be that fear for a temporary amount of time. I mean, that's what I think got me training jiu-jitsu is, that's a scary thing to do that. And what you do on the mat really translates off the mat. And I think being nervous and scared in life to be able to accomplish things, finding an outlet like jiu-jitsu and being able to overcome that and realize I'm capable of doing this, that attitude and mindset walked off the mat with me. And I walk around my whole life thinking like that and just going after it and knowing I can do anything. I think when we live and stay in that fear, it takes over us.
It takes over.
But
Yeah.
it's good if you do have the fear, acknowledge it and then go chase it and overcome it and eliminate it.
And if you don't want to live like that, I guess you can always work at McDonald's.
Right, you could.
Nice, smooth.
Nice,
Smooth. But I see where you're going. So like if you're running a business, I think that's a challenge. I think your kids, having that motivation, right, is a big deal. Looking at a business and being scared though, is there anything you're scared of when it comes to the business side of it, where you're running the business and let's say, because everybody grows when they have other people around them that could support the business. You doing everything yourself, that's a really challenging situation. So if you start to really grow, I mean, like what is your position? What is your long-term goal for this?
I think my long-term goal would just to be to create something that's everlasting. Health and fitness will be something that we always strive to be. We'll always want to be healthy. We'll always want to, try to stay in shape and live longer and take care of our bodies. And I think the goal is to create something that's going to live forever and just a lifestyle, create a lifestyle that is
It's
never
positivity.
It's positivity. It's
Yeah.
just a lifestyle, and that has so many endless looks that can look like anything as long as it's healthy and positive. So I think my goal is, as long as I keep it positive, I'm very open-minded to other ideas and bringing people along for the ride and going in as a team. I think
Show me the
more
guns real
merrier.
quick, man. You got some
Guys,
guns.
it's too much right now. I do like
I
five.
want just show it real quick. Look at that.
Guys,
some
I do.
guns right
I do
there.
like
Okay.
5 push-ups, and I'm like, my muscles just swell out.
And you got that nice olive skin, so it brings out all the cuts.
Thank you.
You
It
know what I
does.
mean?
It does. It does.
Man, I'm white. Like if I take my shirt off, where do you go?
Blind
Where do you go?
everybody.
Yeah, you're totally right. Though. Whenever I do photo
man.
shoots,
Oh, man.
I look more cut in a photo shoot than I would even
My-
in life, because the lighting, it hits. It's so nice.
They call me powder. So
That's why you gotta take those
Just
selfies
like-
in the mirror at a certain angle to get those
Yeah,
shadows.
oh, yeah.
But that's why people rub that self-tanning, because they
Yeah.
want to get all those oh man, but it does help. Like it does help. So
does.
let's talk a little bit on going back to the pros and cons. What do you not like about Las Vegas? Because there's things that people don't like.
Yeah.
I could tell you a handful of things, but it's not about me, it's about you.
Dude,
So
number one thing is the schools right now. I'm just so nervous, and it's not even maybe Vegas schools. It's more like just schools in general. I don't know if it's just Vegas, because my kids didn't start school till I moved out here in Vegas, so I don't have really anything to compare it to. But the schooling is it's
terrible.
It's scary. It's so scary.
well, they're not getting the education. I can't count how many people come out here and they're like, okay, where's the best schools? And they only got like so many to choose from. So when I'm doing a search, going through it, and they're like, okay, well, I got to go do this or maybe this school. But once they start seeing those reviews, I mean, I think we're ranked like second to last or last.
So
I mean,
bad.
Yeah, we moved up to 49th.
So,
49th.
Yeah, so it's good. We're not in dead last.
Okay, that's
so
better. Okay. So last week I just enrolled the kids in homeschool. So I'm going to homeschool in this next school year because I'm just, I'm nervous. I'm not a fan of the schooling. It's been.
So is that the only thing? I've also seen an uptick, and I talk about this a lot, is in crime, right? And maybe it's just publicized more, but I feel that Vegas has always had crime, but it's really way more frequent now. And I know there's a population is growing. They said like by the year 2000, I think it was 2035, we'll have 3 million people here.
Yeah. We're already almost at like 2.5 between Henderson
and
Vegas.
It feels that way too.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really
feel
does.
There's so many people here. Yeah. The crime is bad. I guess in my head, I just assume and think that's going to be wherever you go. It's probably a huge
It's not so bad in Summerlin.
It's not so bad, but it's probably a huge reason why my kids and I train. Not that that's going to avoid us from a crime situation.
No, but it helps to situational awareness.
Just keep your head up, walk around with your head up all the time. But I just feel like there's nothing I can really do to avoid the crime. I mean, start protesting and getting loud and petition, but
I think it deters people
scary.
though from kind of like, what location do I want to move to?
Sure.
You know, we talk
Absolutely.
about, you know, like, do I want to be on this side? No. I mean, look, we all know the east side doesn't get the best rep, right?
It's a little rough.
Yeah, and it's a little rough, and that's fine, but there's parts of it that's good, but nobody really talks about it.
No.
There is some talks of being where there's money going to be invested on the east side of Las Vegas, and that could bring the values up. It could bring more of a desirability, but at the same time, nobody really talks about it because that's not the spot you want to typically start off in Las Vegas. Right. It's always Summerlin, Henderson, Green Valley, Southwest, Northwest, now, and that's it.
It's
you know,
it's always on the outskirts.
Always,
yeah. It's never in the city.
Maybe I should open the spot up over there on the east side and start changing things over there.
Dude, just get the vibe over there and just say, everybody follow my path.
Follow my path.
The positivity.
No more crime.
Right? And everybody's going to be like, hey, man, I'm going to the east side.
I think so. This might not be a bad idea.
Shit, no one has ever said it. I'm from the east side. Well, I cannot wait to get away from the east side.
I have this horrible joke. My friend tells me, you don't go past, Lion King, Simbaland. It's like you don't go past. There's this like invisible line through across Vegas, and you don't go past, to the east side, Simbaland.
Where's Simbaland? I'm not sure where that's at. Where's that at? Explain.
Like on the Lion King when he tells like.
Oh, you're talking about the. Okay, I get it.
The invisible line.
Dude, I was like thinking like, is there a Simbaland in Las Vegas?
I think it's Maryland Parkway.
In the Lion King, he tells him like everything the sun hit is great, but past the shadows, like you stay away. And we talk about like the east side being the shadows, like you don't go to.
Yeah, you stay away from like Swenson and Twain area. Like that's pretty much it over there.
Right.
You know the funny part of that movie was when they said Mufasa and he go, ooh. Remember that part? Or what are they? That's
the hyenas.
You guys have little kids, I forget.
Dude, I watch it all. I used to watch it all the time, man.
By yourself?
Of course. I'd get a glass of wine and I'd drink it by myself. Man, that is the funniest movie.
Dude, those hyenas are funny. Mufasa.
You don't watch it, man? Come on.
No, I haven't watched a kids movie. I watched Sing and Sing 2. Those are the most recent ones I've watched. I haven't really told anyone that, but I enjoy those
Wait
movies.
a second.
My son's 21, so it's different.
Yeah, man, but you could still watch Sing with your 21-year-old son, man.
He's not into like cartoon musicals.
Would that be awkward? Would that be awkward?
I don't think so at all.
I mean, maybe if you guys were like duet singing together, that may be a little thing, but that's,
You don't have to tell anybody that part.
So, all right, so let's get back to this. So, Leanne Gaxiola, right? Did I say it right? Gaxiola. I got it close.
You're good. You're good.
Trim. What is it?
Tribe.
Tribe, yes.
Tribe.
Where's that at?
Tribe
martial
Fitness
arts.
and Martial Arts. Yeah, come train. It's over off the 215 in Russell.
And you said there's like some UFC fighter that's there too?
We have a recently retired UFC fighter, my girl Roxanne Modafari. Yeah, she just came into the gym recently, and she started teaching some adult classes and kids classes. So,
nice.
Yeah, we're super stoked to have her over there, especially as a female.
So you got a UFC fighter and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter here?
Yeah, we got a lot of other badass people there too.
One last thing. What about, like you said, Forrest Griffin and these guys? I mean, is there anybody that's a celebrity that you met that was completely different than what you thought it would be?
Oh, that's a good question. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody. I mean,
no. I mean, you're meeting somebody. I'm thinking like, a guy like Forrest Griffin. He's probably like just.
He seems super quiet.
Dude, super cool. Like
I think I would think the opposite. I would think he would be like a guy that's just like very outgoing and just kind of not in your face, but he's just kind of like like moving around. He's just
Right.
very
It's so
energetic.
interesting you said that. So when he comes to my classes, he's in the front and he's like moving.
That's what I'm talking
around
about, right?
crazy,
Oh,
like
sweet, okay.
breathing
That's what I'm
heavy.
saying.
Like you would
Yeah.
think he's about to go into the the octagon. Like he's moving like crazy. But
I think this. I
He's
don't know.
training for those Kia commercials that he does.
Right. But he's still super chill. Like, he likes coming to the classes and
Nice.
feeling normal, going to the studio. But he's super cool. Everybody I've met's been really cool. I haven't had a bad experience with anybody.
Nice.
All right, it's now that time. Man, she's over here getting ready to rock out right
No
here.
She's ready to pull
Yeah.
that blue
Oh,
belt
the
out and kick
music.
She's
someone's
ready.
ass.
She is ready. So, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the housing market, and we're going to talk about some of the things that I see happening out there with first-time home buyers. We're also going to talk a little bit about what's happening with the American dream. And, I got a guy over here
nightmare.
across from me that he has a certain opinion on things. Well, I got an opinion too. And he's going to try to convince me why the American dream is still alive today. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if it is. So let's go ahead and talk with over here, Mr. Ethan. Ethan, how do you feel that this market right now is actually favorable to people trying to buy a house? Like, is this really the American dream? Because, you go back to the 1930s, there was a gentleman named James Truslow Adams who really presented that you have the ability, everybody should have the same ability or equal opportunity to make wealth. You look at homes. Yeah, you look at homes, and one of those vehicles is buying a home. That's usually the primary core reason of why somebody builds wealth in a lifetime, especially if you're that lower to mid-income household when you're starting out in life.
Yeah.
So is that going to go away? And are these people starting to really say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to be a renter, and that's what's going to happen from the future years that's coming ahead. So what do you think?
I think you can rent and throw your money away, or you can go buy a home. And a lot of people are freaked out, and they're saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. But you can buy a home right now. You can. And it's not going to cost you a lot of money. And even with those interest hikes, you can avoid that.
I don't know, man. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. It's because the cost of a home today,
Yeah.
if somebody was going to buy a home from me 2 years ago, the rates were low. And
Yeah.
as rates go, they've stayed low. I think the people today looking at buying a house are completely outside the market right now. And they're just saying, you know what? This thing's happening. This recession thing is going to hit. And I really feel that that's kind of the direction, the mindset of where people are at. 50% of people say it's not a good time to buy. You have 70% say they're pessimistic on the economy and the market.
But you're always going to have those people, though. That's never going to go away. Every day you're going to have those people. They're always going to say, oh, no, it's not a good time. And then you're going to have the other side that says, yes, it is a good time. Fact of the matter is you can buy it. I think the average person can afford a $25,000 down payment. I think so.
Here's the problem, though. Okay, you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, what if you need down payment assistance, or let's say you're putting down the minimum? You can't compete against a cash buyer. You can't compete against people that are overbidding on homes. So that's where I say,
Well, we're not saying it's impossible. It can be done. Now, it's a matter of getting it done. Now, there are ways to approach it. For instance, you said the assistance. In Vegas, there are programs where if you do work for the casinos for a couple of years, they do have programs where they'll help you and give you a percentage that you can put down towards your home. Even right now, let's say, what is the average price of a home in Vegas right now?
$480.
$480. I was going to go with $500, so we're close on what we were going to say.
Okay.
Let's say you buy a home for $500, right? Even if you're potentially looking, Leanne, to possibly buy a house, you're going to need $25,000 down. You're going to need closing costs of what, $6,000 to $7,000. There's even opportunities right now to
Depending on the house. Look, let me say this.
Yeah.
So when you look at all the costs, right? And this is what I'm saying. I'm a real estate agent out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
And
you have all that information.
I have the information, but I also understand, like, you have to be real. Like, people aren't going to just buy from you because you say, go buy. Now's a great time. Is it really a good time? And I think it's with the overall costs and where things are at, I understand why people are like, hey, you know what? I don't know if I should do this. And this American dream thing, is it really an American dream? The house part of it's not the American dream. The American dream is, can the average person out there go and afford and buy a home and create sustainable wealth?
Financial freedom is where it's at.
Well, at least the idea. Now,
Yeah.
can people do that today? And
Absolutely.
tell me how.
I think so. Listen, you buy that house, and guess what? Everybody's freaked out right now about that interest rate hike, right? Well, guess what? What if you didn't have to worry about a lot of that?
Explain though. I don't understand. So
Let's say you do buy that home that's $500,000, and your interest rate is about what's the interest rate? About 6% right now, right? With that recent
it's about
0.75%,
5.5 to 6%.
So let's say you have just purchased that home, and let's say that you want to try to avoid some of that interest. Well, people are like, well, how do I avoid it? Well, the typical business person knows that if they pay off on the principal of a loan, it'll get rid of a lot of that interest depending on how much you're paying.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, as an example, like let's say you pay an extra $100 a month towards your principal on your home with that 6% interest rate. You're going to take off $57,000 and change. You're going to take about 2.5 years off of your mortgage, but that's nothing. That's like 50 something thousand. That could be a lot to someone. To someone like me, that's not much. If you want to get nuts and you want to get a part-time job, let's say, right? Let's say you work 2 days a week at a bar. You make an extra $500 a month that you want to throw on your mortgage. An extra $500 on your principal with the 6% interest rate is going to save you $200,000 on your overall mortgage loan, and it's going to shorten your 30-year loan by 9 years. That's a big deal.
Well, here's
to
my
put in a
question.
little bit of extra work.
Here's
so you
my
can
question,
afford that American dream.
Okay, so my question though is not really about like, because I look at the data and I look at facts of what's happening in this market, and I feel that the housing market's slowing down. I think people's timing is like, you know what, this is gonna come down. So I'm gonna wait to see how far this comes down, because now they're seeing somewhat of the market softening. Now prices aren't gonna decline.
No.
And so I
Not
don't.
at all.
So my thing is, if they keep going up, which I'm pretty confident they will, you got a shortage of homes, supply and demand.
Yeah.
I think that we have a short of supply, and we always talk about it on this show. You're going to still see people buying at whatever price point it is. You might see the amount of buyers soften or the amount of competition soften, but as we go, I mean, you look at hedge fund investors, right?
Yeah.
We were number 2, right, as far as being the most unaffordable city for somebody that's a first-time home buyer.
It's getting up there. It's
Las
getting up
Vegas.
there.
Only second to California. And who's buying these homes? Cash buyers, right?
Yeah.
They're pushing these first-time home buyers out, or these primary residence home buyers out. And guess what they're forced to do? They're forced to rent. So now it's like, well, now we can't compete with that. We're competing against each other, right? As far as other buyers.
Yeah.
These, REITs and these other, big businesses and hedge fund investors and just, businesses and investors in general, they're buying these properties.
Then maybe Vegas is not the place. I mean, like when you said timing, is this the right time? I think that is determined upon each person differently.
Yeah,
is it the right time for me? Is it the right time for you?
Buy? Is that what you're encouraging? Should people
Well,
buy?
it's like this.
What is the right time for everyone? And I think for everyone that's different.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us here. The right time might be incredibly different for all 3 of us.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if there's a right time to buy, and there's like a generalization of that. I think it's more about if you're looking at it from a financial investment standpoint, I don't know, is it a good time to buy? Because you got to think that, let's say we are, not peaked out, but we're only going to appreciate 2 to 3% over into 2023.
Yeah.
How much really? I mean, you're buying this more for a long term. Where when you're starting to see these gains, we had double-digit gains, 23%, 20% over the last 2 years since COVID. You're looking at this going, man, if I bought then, I would have $150,000 equity.
Yeah.
Am I going to see those same types of gains with this market? And also, these costs are so high. Is it really financially, responsible, or should I even buy a house at this point?
Maybe not in Vegas.
Really? So you don't think Vegas is a good place to buy?
Well, no, we're almost at California prices. I mean, if the average home is $480,000 right now, no. Well, I looked up another state in the country that is literally the cheapest state in the country to buy a home right now, and you couldn't even buy a condemned crack house in Vegas for this price.
Yeah.
So right now in West Virginia, for instance, for an 1,800 square foot home on average, it's only $129,000 today. And
Yeah,
now
I mean-
you look at Vegas,
Yeah.
and the average is 480,000. That's
Yeah, but is
300
Vegas desirable though? See, I mean, you look at
for
Virginia.
many reasons. West Virginia. I've never been there. I don't know what they have. I know they make moonshine out there. That's the only amazing thing I can think about right now. So I don't really know much about West Virginia.
Take a little bit of hit of that. So no, I mean, look, I get it.
Might
I
need that to live here.
I think it's got to be like where we actually bring the questions that people have into this show. We have to bring the possibility of maybe it's not a good time. And I'm not going to be biased and be a realtor and say, hey, go out there and buy. I understand.
If
Are
Vegas
people
is
still
desirable,
buying? They're still buying.
If it's desirable,
Yes.
you've got to make it desirable for you, Dan. If you want to live here, you're going to find a reason to live here. You're going to find a way to do it. You're going to find a way to make that home affordable for you. Screw the interest rate hike. Figure out a way to pay that principal. Make it affordable for you. Find the reason you want to live in Vegas.
So I want to go over a couple of things here that let's talk about. So
Absolutely.
you know, one of the things is it the right time to buy because people may have extra debt right now, right?
Everyone's got
that's
extra
got to
debt.
be a considering factor. How about overpaying for a house? You know, if you're going into a market and you're overpaying for this house, and you're just because you want to get into it, and the carpet needs to be fixed, the paint's all jacked up,
Yeah.
you got the house is falling apart in some areas. Why would you want to just pay for something like that? Look, we all know that there's people out there that will invest in that, but I'm just saying
A lot of it's location.
it's fear of not just missing out, but fear of not having the ability to buy a home altogether at this point.
Yeah.
And maybe that's pushing people into the market. And I think some people are just overpaying for this house. That should be a possibility of why you shouldn't buy it.
No, I think that's a realistic thing. People were paying like 50 grand over asking price recently, and now it's starting to simmer down a little bit, and people are getting closer to asking price. So it's not shooting over, and people aren't bidding as much as they are, and I think that's why investors might be coming in to scoop these up. But then again, as a home buyer, you can pay that rental price, which is equivalent almost to what your mortgage might be, or buy that home that's kind of fucked up. But guess what? You're going to piece it together as you go. You might find that home that's in a location you want it to be in. But guess what? You might have to fix that carpet. You might have to paint it. And you'll do one thing at a time as you go. And then you might have to adjust some other things in your life to be able to afford it. I mean, gas is like $57 a gallon right now. So
Yeah, and that's why I only get 1 gallon. You know? I get to come to the show and then I go right back home. I'm like, that's it.
I picked up a new client over the weekend that has these amazing vehicles, which it's funny because I live off of Mountain's Edge in Buffalo. And
Okay.
I live in a neighborhood that the average house is probably like 8 to 850. My neighbors picked up one of these Vanderhalls, which is a vehicle. It's a 2-seater vehicle, full leather, heated seats, air conditioning, like the whole nine, because they couldn't afford the gas. So these vehicles are very economical. VSSR, which is Vegas Scooter and Slingshot Rentals, which is like the biggest place in Vegas, sells these. And they're selling them to people that live in $1 million homes. And you'll see some of these and you're like, I figured that guy would have been in a Ferrari.
Right.
And this guy's in a, $40,000 2-seater car because it's economical, because he wanted that house.
I see.
And had to find another area of life to save that money and not spend that money on gas.
So it comes back to, I think, financially, is it responsible and does it make sense? And I think a lot of people coming from California, let's be honest, man, they're paying cash. They don't deal with the same problems, and you're from California.
Oh, San Diego with that too, an
San
expensive
Diego.
area.
Right. I mean, they're not dealing with the same issues where, okay, well, I got a mortgage now and I've been living here and now I'm trying to transition up. A lot of times it's I'm coming here and putting cash. So as that market keeps driving this market up, right? I'm not saying Californians are bad. We all have benefited. Like,
Absolutely.
there's things, pros and cons to that as well. I've benefited. So, but again, it's still looking at this market going, you look at this price point, and we are second in the nation, I think, or at least in the 50 metropolitan areas of cities, have the most unaffordable place to live
So
for
crazy.
primary
And
homeowners.
it
right
seems like
now.
it was yesterday that people came here because it was one of the cheapest.
Totally.
So I don't see
crazy.
it changing. Now, I want to bring another thing up. Now, you said it's a good time to buy, or this is why you would buy. I wouldn't want to compete against other buyers today. We know that that's not really as much happening as it did prior to, let's say, the last few months. But
Yeah.
I've seen it where we've had 11, 15 offers, this many people looking to buy the same house. And you're just going in there with your best foot forward and just saying, please take my offer. Please, I need this house. And it's almost to a point of, are you pressured to buy a house too? Like, is there a lot of pressure?
I think if you're going to buy a house and you want to buy a house, you've already made the decision that you want to buy one.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm going in. I've already got my money together. I got a pre-approval letter. Now it's time to look. Now, what I would recommend from a business standpoint is don't just find one that you're just like balls in about. Like, go find at least 10 homes based on the fact that they're getting multiple offers and say, okay, you know what? No matter what, I want one of these 10 homes that I've picked out.
Right.
And I would go ahead and I would start making offers on as many as I could. I mean, I would definitely, that way you're not feeling pressured to trying to get in and overpay for that one property you want.
I got a question for you, Leanne. So I know you're maybe not in a market to buy, but let's say that you were thinking about buying. What are some of the challenges that that just pop into your head as being somebody out there that just hears the news that's going on out there on the streets?
Home buyer.
Yeah,
I mean, I think about the things you said, like getting into a home that's going to need a bunch of remodeling done. But aren't there people out there that's what they look for? Like they want to flip a house, or they want the fixer upper. They want to change that stuff. I think it just depends who you are and what you want.
Would you overpay for a house, though?
I would not overpay for a house. I mean, I don't even know if I would pay for a house because I don't know if that's something I'd want, even if I was in the position to. I wouldn't overpay.
So you would still, at the end of the day, if you were looking to buy a house, you would still want to find a good deal.
Yeah.
You're not just going to go in and be like, I'm overpaying because I want that house.
Yeah, and I want a good quality of life. I don't want to try to find ways to afford this life. I mean, if it's so hard, maybe we shouldn't be trying to find alternative ways to buy a home. If it's that hard, maybe we should be somewhere else.
Some people shift their entire lives to buy a house.
Right. And if you can do that to buy a house out here, then do it. But I just think it depends what you're wanting.
So you're saying that you don't want to overpay for a home. That's kind of what I'm getting from it, if you found the right home. And then also, too, do you think it's a good time to buy right now based upon what you hear out there? Because there's a lot of negative news in the media that's telling everybody, hey, recession, crash is coming, rates are 6%, inflation's 40-year highs. I mean, what do you think?
Sure. From the information I've picked up from you guys and just what I hear, it still sounds scary. It sounds like there's always going to be the pros and cons. It sounds like there's always going to be the talk of this is a good time, this is not a good time. I feel like it's just going to always be like that. I feel like you really got to do your research, and maybe sometimes it's a little better of an idea to buy now than it's not. And maybe the other one outweighs, I think it just really having to do some research, finding out the position you're in. I think personally, from what I hear, it's still a little scary. But I'm totally open-minded to doing it if I'm in a position to do it, for sure. Lots of research.
Here's my thing too, is I feel that when I've had people that want to buy, and maybe you can look at this too, Ethan, is they always say, well, I'm going to wait till next year, or I'm going to wait till rates come down. I'm going to wait till prices come down, but then they don't come down.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever get feedback of people just scared of the commitment?
100%.
They're not even worried about the money. It's just this
people don't even
commitment.
want to sign a 2-year cell phone contract anymore.
It's
people are terrified of commitments. Even, marriage, like literally anything with a commitment, people are terrified of.
I feel like
nowadays.
that's feedback I hear from people more often than anything. Like maybe they are in a position, but they don't want to commit because they don't know if.
Do you feel that's confidence though? Like,
what do you mean?
Consumer confidence in life.
That's a good point.
If you go to work, right, and let's say, okay, I have all these things that I can afford. Economy's doing well. There's not a lot of negative publicity out there. You know that rates are doing good, whatever it is. And then you start to build that confidence. And then going to work, you're going to be able to get that money in return where you don't feel like you're going to get laid off, or you don't feel like a recession's right around the corner. I think a lot of people look at this and go, okay, am I going to be – look at what happened with COVID. And I understand it was COVID.
Yeah.
But nobody saw that happening. And I think the uncertainty and the non-confident people out there in the economy and in the world today – is really why a lot of people don't want that commitment.
Yeah.
They just don't want to feel like they have obligation to somebody.
Facts. But when I go into buying a house, I'm not looking at that 30-year thing. I'm going in on the business side saying, you know what, this is a 30-year loan, but I'm going to pay it off in 12 months. I'm going to pay it off in 8 and half the time.
Yeah, but
or 12
let's see
years,
this.
Sorry.
The realistic type
of
position that people are in, though, realistically, do they really do that? I understand that.
I don't know.
That is good for the
business
side, but for people who are unsure, probably families, things change all the time.
I don't know
That's
how all that works.
That's why I was asking earlier. Who you're saying it's a good time to buy? Who are we telling should buy?
Exactly. That's a great question.
People who are investing. Are we telling families to buy? Families probably not. There's so much change and uncertainty.
So do you feel people are pressured then? Like, do you feel that these people are pressured?
I think to buy a home overall, people are pressured too, because you always hear, "Oh, you should own a home. You should buy a home. You should own property." I always hear, "You should own real estate." I've heard that my whole life.
Well, it is the number one way that people that, like I said, that are in that middle class that gain wealth. Yeah. But it's like this: when it's affordable. Okay, if you can go out there and you can afford things and you're not pushing your debt ratio to the limits, you're not putting yourself in a position where you don't have enough money left over for your family. If you got a family of 5 or 6 today and you got one person working in a household, good luck.
You ain't buying a house.
Good luck.
And I think that's the problem is a lot of people don't know what they can afford. I've had to teach my son that the hard way. And he's like, oh, I've got $100. I'm going to buy a pair of Jordans. I'm like, you can't afford that.
Yeah.
And he's like, sure, I can. I got all the money right here. I said, but that's all of your money. And he goes, well, how do I know what I can afford? I said, Nathan, take 10% of everything you have, and that's what you can afford. And you can blow that because you will have 90% left in case that 10% is just screwed off. And he's like, but that's not much money. I go, no, but that's what you can afford. So I always look at it like worst case scenario. So I always look at it like a 10% of whatever you want to blow money on is literally what you can afford. If I have $100,000, I'm not going to buy a $100,000 car.
Well, yeah. I look at it too, and I'll just say this. So if you're out there and you're looking to say you want to buy a house, I think there's two ways that you look at it, and this is the reasons why you can justify buying a house. Okay, the first one is you look at the values of homes.
Yeah.
We have a shortage of homes. I bring this up, I say this all the time to nauseam with people about we have shortage of homes. Look, we still don't have enough homes for the demand of people out there. So what that's going to do is sustain the price of these houses, and they're going to continue to go up slightly, right? Even if they go up 2 to 3%, you're still going up, right?
Yeah.
You're not declining. I don't feel like it's going to go through a declining market. I don't.
Okay.
I do feel like the economy is slowing down. We all feel it.
Yeah.
We
sure.
also there's a threat
Yeah.
that we might have unemployment start happening. If that happens, this might be a different discussion. But you look at that, and then the also thing is, if you look at the rents today, especially here in Las Vegas, because we're talking about Las Vegas mostly, the same rents you're paying today is almost the same as even with the 6% interest rate.
Right.
Because it's not much different. Yeah. You have all of these landlords that don't have, so they're not governed as much as you think on how much they're charging for rent.
So they can just raise the rent?
They can raise the rent based upon the market conditions. And I think that's where people are at is, okay, well, what's the real difference? It's the same with California. What is the real difference in prices of homes in California versus here now?
It seems like it's almost not that far apart.
It's not that far apart.
Yeah.
And so now you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, if it's not that far apart, it doesn't look like it's going to go in any direction. I'd rather put my money into something and risk it that maybe I'll get a return on. And if I have to, I can refinance my loan down the road if you get a loan.
Yeah.
The hard part is, though, I have to compete against people like these cash buyers, these investors that come in with a lot of money, and you're also competing against each other, right?
Yeah,
you're going into it. So the challenges are there, but I can still maybe justify why I would buy a house. But if I'm an investor trying to buy a second home, unless I really need to be in Las Vegas, I don't think I'm doing it if I'm a secondary buyer or an investment buyer.
No, if you're an investment buyer, you're going to be looking for a good deal. You're going to be looking for a cheaper home that you can make money off of.
But
you're not looking for that primary residence that you're moving your family into. That's going to be a whole different story.
That's a good point. But you have a lot of cash buyers still buying houses, and what they're doing is they're storing their money in these houses here.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, well, I thought the same thing. Well, why are they buying here? What they obviously feel, as these investors go, that there's confidence within the investment world, right? You have all these hedge fund investors. We talk about these REITs. We talk about a lot of these, pulling money together. These and just investors in general pulling the money together. And you're looking at it and you're saying, well, why would they be investing in Las Vegas? It's because the confidence is there. And they don't feel, I wouldn't invest if I was an investor if we're dropping 20 or 30%. They probably feel that this market will always have renters, and we're pushing that middle class even further out from being able to buy a house. Yeah. So you're going to have these primary, people that are going into buying these homes that are all unaffordable. They're going in and they're saying, look, we're going to just push these people out. They're going to rent. And as these prices go up, they're further and further away from buying a house.
Yeah, it's going to start pushing people out of the city, no doubt. I think as the city grows, like we have a baseball team potentially coming here, I think every time we add something major to the city, it increases the overall value of the city, and therefore it makes that bottom line of that lowest home price actually raise up. You have the high end, and then you have that low end of all of it, and it's going to steadily increase based on the value of the city. And that's just facts. That's just business 101 right there.
It's totally true. My parents just sold their home, and they're moving to Texas just because it's too much.
Even Texas is cheap. It's cheaper, but it's also starting to climb a little bit. Everyone's from here is going there. And this is why now, like West Virginia, when I pulled it up, you can buy a house for like almost a 2,000 square foot home for 130 grand. How long do you think that's going to stay for?
Well, I think this market, it's not recession proof.
No, nothing.
But I feel that the world, our nation could go under a recession, and we might see a decline economically. Now, do I feel that that's going to happen in the housing market here, and are we going to be hit as hard as other cities? Probably not, because there's a lot of money being driven to this city.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel that the desirability, like you said, and the investments that's coming here keeps the city thriving. And I'm not saying it's consistently just, on fire, but let's be honest. I mean, this thing has been growing really for the most part since, we had the great crash, right, of 2008. We haven't seen a real decline of anything. All we've seen is, consistency. And then we just went crazy after COVID, right? And now it's like, okay, maybe we head back into just a normal market for this time period, but we're still not going to decline because there's too much money coming here.
I think normal is way out the window. Whatever people thought was normal 2-3 years ago, like I said, I've been away for a few years, but whatever was normal prior to 2019 is no longer the case. Once I came back home and saw everything was different, there was no more normal anything. Everything completely changed. And with the food prices, obviously the gas prices, the home prices, everything is going to continue to grow. And if people are continually moving to Vegas with everything still increasing, it's just going to raise the overall value again of the city. So it's going to make this city valued at that much more.
So your final thoughts. Okay, you're saying it's a good time to buy.
I think now is a great time to buy just because overall the value of the city will increase. Yeah, I absolutely believe that.
Okay, I disagree with the part that is it a good time to buy if you need to buy? I would agree with that. If you're looking at rents and you're saying rents are really comparable to what you're going to get into with a mortgage, then I would agree with that.
Okay.
But I would disagree in the sense that are you going to be in a position where you're pushing for a lot of these families and a lot of these people buying, especially if you're a first-time home buyer or just home affordability, are you pushing yourself on the brink of not being able to afford the other things in life that you may need? I mean, look.
You're going to have to make some sacrifices.
You got to make sacrifices. I don't know, because I feel that with the rates being this high and with the housing market being where it's at, the confidence in where things are at, we are showing signs of a national possible recession. Economy is slowing down. There's not a lot of positive going on with that part of it, and that's why I say if you have to buy it, I get it. If I was going to go buy a house, I would still buy a house because my family might need it. I'd rather risk my money and put it in there as far as buying it into a home and maybe gaining equity and gaining wealth that way. Give myself a chance. If I'm going to rent and my rent is $100 or $200 less than say that mortgage payment, even at 6%, I'm going all in. I'm buying a mortgage.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense for that reason. If I'm going into it thinking I got to buy at the dip or I'm buying for an investment and I'm looking to gain financial wealth long term, that's to be determined. We don't know that because we don't know if the economy is going to really slow down altogether. Economies always come back.
Oh yeah, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Another breakout could happen of some crazy shit, and it could make everything skyrocket even double. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen from day to day, especially in an economy like this.
So I want to keep moving on this. So let's go ahead. Let me see. Hold on one second. I want to bring this up really quick. So Ethan, let's talk a little bit, man, about your situation because I had to cut that off. Look at that.
My
You're a
situation.
superhero right here. You're a superhero. Yeah. So I want to bring this up really quick, man. I want to bring up your website here. And I'm going to bring this up. So first off, you're going to see Ethan over here on the right. So I'm going to pitch him and I'm going to turn this down in a second. But I also want to bring this up, guys. If you guys are out there looking to get started on buying a home, okay, there is no better place to get started than my website. Now, like I said, we're going to sit down. We're going to go through a consultation. I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons of buying in this market. And you know what? It might not be the right time for you. Again, I think there's a lot of persuasiveness. There's a lot of people out there that push you to think that, hey, no time's better. You got to be mentally right. Even
Absolutely.
if you think that, okay, it's still a great time, this and, whatever it is, you have to mentally be prepared to take on that responsibility, just like she said, right? And so that's the first thing. But I want you guys to go to LV Home Professionals. This is where it's at. You can come here. We have listed properties here. I want you guys to take a look at that. We're going to keep adding to this website. If you guys want to come here and find out anything that's going on in the market today here in Las Vegas, check us out there. Also, if you guys want to go and find out this is a landing page. We have 2 landing pages, and I'm going to bring this up. What I'm going to bring up is if you guys want to see price reductions that's just reduced, go to lvhomesguru.com. That's lvhomesguru.com. Check out this website. This is just so you can go here and get the list of just reduced homes on the market. We're going to do this on a week-to-week basis. So you guys are always going to get the up-to-date information on what's happening. The other thing I want to go and talk about here is this is for open houses. So for this week, register on our site, right? You can come here to this landing page, LV Home Shopper, and it's lvhomeshopper.com. Check us out here. You can go to open houses. You can check this information out. This will bring you to all the open houses that's happening this week. Again, week to week basis, we're going to keep giving you this up-to-date information. And then guys, if you guys want to get a hold of me and set up a consultation, you'll have all my contact information below. Also, I want to throw in one other thing here is that we do have a YouTube channel, LV Crib Tours, right?
Crib Tours,
That's
right?
sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, LV Crib Tours, guys, check it out. So I'm doing cribs. I'm doing crib tours. I'm doing house tours. I was like, got cribs on the mind.
MTV Cribs.
MTV Cribs, man. We're going and checking these houses out on a consistent basis. What this does is it gives you guys an insight on what's happening. Also, we're going to be putting out 2 brand new homes that are just listed or maybe move-in ready, right? These builders, I'm going to talk about this. Lennar's coming on Saturday, and we're going to talk to them because these builders have properties that are move-in ready now, and they're also reducing the prices of their homes and cutting back on some of these price reductions on these new homes now, because what's happened is you have rates going up, the market is softening, and they're trying to get these homes sold. A lot of these people are backing out. So you have to check that out. We're going to have 2 links every single week now that says here's our homes that are move-in ready from whatever builder it is. And we check out all the builders. We go through all the builders and talk to them about what the certain incentives are and all the things that comes with that house. And we'll even talk about what price reductions they've done on the home compared to what they had it before. You're going to start to see this a lot. Builders are a little worried because this market's softening. As rates go up, that's when builders don't shine. They're having problems selling these houses. People don't want to get into a house at a premium price and have a premium interest rate. So I want to go ahead and move over here. We're going to talk to Mr. Ethan, and I want to bring this up really quick. And let's bring up what this is all about here. So let's play this real quick, man. I got to play this for you real quick. Hold on. Let me see if I can get over here. Oh, there we go.
Come to us because for $16, we can do what no one else can do. We do unlimited social media marketing for your business 7 days a week. Now, if you can afford $16, which every business we work with can, and that's why they work with us, we put in work like no one else will for you and your business. So those of you that live in Las Vegas probably know me. Most of the businesses that are local know who I am as well, and we have a great relationship. My foundation, I come from working with celebrities and pro athletes, and I've done wonderful for a lot of people in the industry. And recently, I've crossed over to start working with businesses to provide them with the same treatment. Why? Because you deserve it. Is your business worth $16? Absolutely. It's worth a lot more than that. And for $16, we do unlimited. That means unlimited amount of postings, 7 days a week. Again, message me directly. Stop paying for your daily ads, $60, $70, $80 a day for those paid sponsored ads where people are just scrolling right past them. Are you getting dead leads? It's because you're paying for daily paid ads. Let's skip all the nonsense, guys. AEY Marketing. As long as we're here, you'll never pay for another daily ad again.
Dude, I was like, that was facts, bro.
Yeah.
I liked it, man.
I like it.
Yeah. So let me say this. Talk about your business, man. What do you do?
So social media distribution is something that is not brand new, but it's new to a lot of people when they hear it. So a lot of people will go on that own a business and they'll do paid daily ads for their page to be seen on Facebook or Instagram or whatever the case is. Now what we do is that, but we place your business on several different other business accounts as well. So you're not paying for each posting. You're not paying daily ads. You're paying us a flat fee, and we're putting your business out to a reach of over 5 million people. So we cross promote a lot. We take your business, it's seen by a ton of people, and you can save a ton of money. It's like $500 a month. It's a flat rate. And we do, again, unlimited postings for you 7 days a week. We take your content and we just push it. So you're not stuck with one single business page that you have, hoping that you're going to get a lot of clients out of it. We actually push it on several different areas.
So I want to say this, guys. If you're out there looking for a marketer or somebody that's going to help your business grow, Ethan's the guy that you want to talk to. He's really good at what he does. And also, Ethan, you know what I like about you too, man, is that you're real confident in presenting everything that you talk about. And for me, I think that's part of it, right? You got to have value, right? But you also have to be confident, and you have to show like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get the results for you. Just like over here. And she is doing the same thing, Leanne. So she does the same thing where she's promoting herself with confidence and saying, look, I'm going to get you the results. And I think that's a part of it. It's a part of it, right? Running a business.
You have to be confident, because if people can question what you're doing and you can't show proof, you can't show anything, then you're pretty much screwed. Yeah. I mean, it is a big deal. You have to go into it with confidence. I mean, I built a weapons company to gross over $100 million a year for the government. So if I can do that, and I can also go out and build fan bases and drive tons of business for all kinds of other people, I can do it for any business. I don't care if you have a taco truck. I don't care if you have a yoga class.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what businesses is it that you're helping or targeting?
So locally, I just picked up a company called VSSR, which is the biggest scooter and slingshot rental in Vegas. People come from around the world to rent vehicles from them, and they're actually selling them now to locals because of the gas prices. I picked them up. I'm working with a couple of restaurants locally. I'm working with the American Guardian, which is actually really neat. They have a massive warehouse near the airport. Nice. It's a private vault company. So instead of going to a bank, for instance, you can go there, rent a safety deposit box that you have access to 24/7. It's like $350 a year. There's no questions asked. You don't even have to have ID to rent one. And you can put whatever items you want to put there that you just don't want people to know that you might have for safety reasons.
Right.
So I work with a lot of really unique businesses here. I work with a couple realtors,
nice.
Restaurant, things like that. So pretty much anyone that's in business that really is trying to gain business, I'm able to help. So I'm not limiting what I do to anybody.
All right, guys. So we got to end the show, and I just want to say this for Ethan, for Leanne. Leanne, thank you so much for coming on. You were a pleasure.
Thank you.
And you want to throw out, we're going to put your contact information, but does somebody wants to try to seek you out? Is there like an Instagram? You said the gram, right?
What's
the
gram? The gram. That's where I put everything. That's where you can find me for everything jiu-jitsu, yoga, fitness, eating well, life coaching. It's Yoga Jits Chick. Yoga Jits Chick on the gram. I recently changed it. It was my name, but I'm trying to separate from your average yoga, your average jiu-jitsu. I smashed it together.
So people can message you and find out about signing up for classes.
They can find it. Yeah, I have my public teaching schedule. The link is in my bio. You guys can go to Tribe Fitness and Martial Arts. I have a coaching schedule on there. You guys can come train with me.
Nice.
Yeah. Hit me up on the gram.
I also want to bring up, guys, I want to talk about a little bit on some of the questions that we get here, and we don't normally go over them, but I'm going to end the show. But I do want to bring this up, and I want to bring it to your attention, guys. If you guys have any questions that's going on, we're going to really make an attempt to try to answer these questions as they come forward, right? So, we had Julie Hearn on here putting in a lot of comments. We appreciate the comments, Julie. Also, Running at Altitude was on here. Kismet was on here making some comments, and they're agreeing with some of the things we have, sometimes disagreeing. Nothing wrong with that. Running Altitude made a good point. He said, consumer debt is at an all-time high, and you're looking at people need to start budgeting 100%. More. And then Kismet said more opportunity for income within 24-hour lifestyle in Vegas. I think that's another thing that's a really important part of like her working or anybody working is this city doesn't sleep, right? No. And so it's always going, and there's always a way for somebody to make money.
Absolutely.
I've even seen people like put up stands at the those bridges on on the strip.
Oh, on the strip, connecting the casinos over there.
And they're just selling water, man. And it's like at all different types of girls taking pictures. And look, man, it's Vegas.
Can you imagine? You pay $4 for a case of water, and
absolutely.
You're selling 24 of them for $1.
Oh,
and you're doing that all day. Why get a job?
And we also brought up another point here where it says nobody's in a 30-year mortgage today, and that's 100% true. I mean, everybody stays in their house, and they're just trying to reposition. I think the lesser of the two evils is if you got to pay rent, I guess you got to pay a mortgage and try to at least pay yourself forward. And I think that's the thing people are looking at. Nobody wants to get into a loan, and nobody wants to. But if you want to try to attempt and have that, position where you're like, you know what, I got to take a risk.
Yeah.
Life is risk.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're always going to get rewarded, but you learn from it. Most people still today, though, they put their money in a house. Most of the time they're rewarded. So, guys, that's it. I have nothing else. You guys have anything else to say here?
No, it's not DiGiorno. It's Dan French. French Workbench.
French Workbench.
I like
Say
it,
that
I
10
like
times
it.
fast.
Thank you
Leanne,
guys
thanks
for
again.
having me. It was amazing. It was fun.
You guys know this is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk happening here in Las Vegas. We're going to have a great guest on Saturday. We're going to have Lennar come on. We're going to talk about what's happening with these price reductions, some of these incentives they're giving out, and also we're going to talk about these landing pages and some of these properties that are now ready to buy, move-in ready. We're going to talk about that on Saturday. I'm Dan French. Subscribe, like the channel. We'll see you guys at the next one. Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast.
Nice.
You can find us here
that
every
fun?
That was
Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LV Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there, a lot of good information, and you can find us on audio only